Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. My name is Cleo and today we're going to talk about John Wayne Gacy. You can see the John Wayne Gacy's tapes on Netflix, and that is what I did, and we're going to talk about that. I'm going to cover it like I covered Jeffrey Dahmer documentary and Jeffrey Dahmer tapes, so let's get started. John Wayne Gacy was born 17th of March 1942, got executed by lethal injection 10th of May 1994. He was born in Chicago, Illinois in the US and was a serial killer that killed 33 boys and young men in the 1970s. He was a sex offender that raped, tortured and killed his victims. In the documentary, we get to hear his records of his interview from 1979 to April 1980 while he was awaiting trial for murder. The person that interviewed Gacy was from Gacy's legal defense team and had requested anonymity. John Wayne Gacy was well known in the northwest suburbs in Chicago, and he also had his own construction business. He was also a Democratic captain in the Cook County Democratic organization. These kind of people are supposed to take care of the people in the neighborhood. His job could be fixing a lighting bulb or shovel the driveway, and he was very good at what he did, so everyone knew him. He also often appeared in children's parties dressed like a clown. This clown is called Pogo. John Wayne Gacy said he created Pogo and was very proud of him. The investigators of this plane executed a search warrant after they'd been following John Wayne Gacy everywhere for weeks and days. He was a suspect. John Wayne Gacy was the last person to talk to a young teen called Robert Peast after he went missing, so the investigator got a search warrant to search for him in his home. To search for Peast in Gacy's home. As they entered his home, they discovered a room that had a lot of clown decorations. They also explained that there was a creepy hallway, dark creepy hallway that was like dark brown, with a door that you could see straight forward that had weird lines. They also found a bunch of books, and one of these books were called Gay Boys Must Die. They also found sex toys and torture toys. This find that I told you guys now is nothing compared to what they're gonna find later. But yeah, no wonder he didn't want to give his keys easily to the investigators. What they're gonna find later is really shocking. They found a lot of stuff that belonged to other people in his home, like for identification, for example. Also, the most important clue, let's say, they found in his home was a photo recipe. And then they found the dark crawl space. They discovered a crawl space, and that is when everything turned into the absolute worst, into a nightmare. 26 dead bodies was found under that crawl space. 3 other dead bodies were found elsewhere around his property. And 4 dead bodies was found in the river in this plain. John Wayne Gacy would lure young men in the false promise of giving them a job. Also, he would offer alcohol, drugs, money for sex. Some were grabbed by force, and some he tricked by wearing a sheriff badge and tricking them by saying that he was a sheriff. When he did lure them to his house, he would try and gain their trust by offering them drinks and drugs. When he started to gain their trust, he wanted them to show them a magic trick involving handcuffs. He would first, of course, demonstrate the trick on himself by putting the handcuffs on him and then taking them off. Then he would want to put them on the victims, but when the victims put them on, they couldn't get them off because they didn't have the key. And so they had the handcuffs on, they couldn't take them off, so that's when he raped and tortured his victims. I would also say that he really humiliated them. Not only could he stand on their chest, he could also sit on their backs and make them imitate a horse. He would also violate them with objects and taunt them through the abuse. He would also take some of his victims into his bathroom and drown them in the bathtub and repeatedly revive them. Some victims pleaded to be killed, but his response would be he would do so whenever he wanted to. He would typically kill his victim by placing a rope around his neck and tying it with a hammer handle. I'm not sure if this is accurate. I have read about these facts in the internet. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I'm not gonna say 100%, but before he would bury his victim under the crawl space, he would have him lying under his bed for 24 hours. I don't know if he did this to all of his victims, and like I said, I don't know if this is 100% accurate. He poured quicklime on some of his victims to quicken the decomposition, and some of his victims he took to the garage to get embalmed. In this documentary that you can see on Netflix, you get to hear from the investigators that was on the case, and you get to hear from the families and the friends and hear their story from their point of view. John Wayne Gacy was a person that wanted to be surrounded by important people. He also wanted to be well known, so he helped around a lot in the community, in his own community. He thought that status was power. He knew how to communicate, and he knew how to work hard to get what he wanted. I would say that he loved to boast, and he had a huge ego, was clever and manipulative. He knew how to gain trust, and that is why he was called Papa John, in his construction business, where he only hired young teenage boys. It didn't really come as a surprise to me when his defense lawyer explained that John Wayne Gacy wanted to take charge and just wanted them to be quiet. His defense lawyer also explained that John Wayne Gacy lied to them and manipulated them. His defense lawyer asked John Wayne Gacy to be quiet, or wanted him to be quiet, while John Wayne Gacy wanted to take another approach by coming completely clean about everything and hoping for a reduced sentence, or crazy enough get freed. What the defense lawyers were fighting for here was to declare John Wayne Gacy insane so he didn't have to get the death penalty. So instead of death penalty, he would be locked in a mental hospital for the rest of his life and eat medicine and get treated. Now this was going to be very difficult, because not only when the investigators searched John Wayne Gacy's home, not only did they find a book called Young Gay Boys Must Die, they also found a book called Criminal Law and Procedure, and it was bookmarked with insanity in defense. So he was clever, just not clever enough. He did get evaluated by a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist of course wanted to go back to John Wayne Gacy's childhood. What I could gather from what I heard in the series is that John Wayne Gacy, when he was a child, he was a bit of an introvert and had a huge curiosity. He also questioned his masculinity because he was short and clunky, and he didn't feel that he was good in any sport. His father saw him as a failure, and no matter what Gacy did, he would always get criticized. His father was the aggressor, and he drank a lot. John Wayne Gacy would explain his mood like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. Of course, he was more close to his mom that was more soft and gentle. Due to his conflict with his sexuality, at one point John Wayne Gacy tried out his mother's underwear. The way she punished him was that he had to keep wearing it, and if he would do it again, she would make him wear it and walk the street. In the time of John Wayne Gacy, homosexuality was seen as a sickness and had to be treated. Of course, in that time there were debates in whether it was a sickness or not, but you could not be open with it. Gacy was also from a Catholic family, so yeah. They explained in the series that the behavior Gacy's father had forced him, he reproduced onto his victims. So all of these victims that he buried under the crawl space was like him being buried by his father. This was the words of the psychiatrist. The reason why John Wayne Gacy's defense team lost this trial is because the prosecutor decided to put the crawl space on the table in front of the jury. What he later did was go to a board where there were pictures of all of the victims. He took them all down, and this is what he said. I'm gonna read it. You want to show mercy to this killer. You show the same mercy that he shown when he took these lies of the face of the earth and put them here. So what did he do? He had their photos in their hand and he started to throw them down in the crawl space. That was really genius. And from there, Gacy was done. The saddest part of the story is that many dead young men was identified years later, and some of them still aren't, which is very sad because all of them were loved and all of them mattered. I'm gonna go into something a little bit different now. When I searched for information about John Wayne Gacy, I could see that Jeffrey Dahmer's name also popped up. Then I saw a movie that is called John Wayne Gacy versus Jeffrey Dahmer, and I thought to myself, like, are people thinking that they are similar or are they somehow connected? I don't get it really. Because other than that they both went after gay young men, they are completely different in their personality and how they killed their victims. So it wasn't that they were similar. They figured out that they were somehow connected, or in a funny way, coincidentally. When Gacy got arrested in 1978 was when Jeffrey Dahmer killed his first victim, Stephen Hicks. When Gacy got arrested in 1980, Jeffrey Dahmer was killing more victims until his arrest in 1991. Dahmer began his prison sentence in 1992 while John Wayne Gacy was still on death row. In 1994, John Wayne Gacy got executed and Dahmer imprisoned. So the only connection they had was they were serial killers at the same time. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you do enjoy these type of videos, please leave a like and subscribe today for more. And yeah, have a good one and take care. Bye bye.